By the end of this tutorial, you will know how to pad your bustier without having those rough scrankle on your bustier fabric. You'll be learning how to make this keyhole neckline, the cap sleeve, the ruffles in front. The final look of this dress on my client will be shown at the end of this video. Hi guys, my name is John. I teach ladies how to make beautiful dresses. We're going to start off with our pattern paper. First things first, fold your pattern paper into two. Go in with your start line, which automatically serves as your shoulder line. Your start line is ½ inch from the start of your paper. Next, we are going in with our chest line from the shoulder to chest line, which is 8 inches. The next is the shoulder to bust, which is 12 inches, and the next we are going in with shoulder to under bust, which is 15 inches, and then shoulder to waistline, which is 17 inches. Okay, so I have marked the important lines. I'll go ahead and rule across those dots I just created: my chest line, my bust line, my under bust line, and then my waist. Next, get your shoulder measurement divided by 2. The shoulder measurement I'm working with is 17 divided by 2 is 8.5, and I'll go ahead and mark 8.5 for the shoulder lines. Now for the neckline, the wideness of the neckline will be 3 inches. 3 inches. Okay, on that point where you marked your shoulder measurement, go down by 1 inch, connect that 1 inch back to the 3 inches you marked for the neckline, and that will be your shoulder slope. Now from your shoulder slope, connect back to your chest line. Find the midpoint from the shoulder slope to your chest line, indicate it. Now on that midpoint, just go in by ½ inch. Now go to your chest line, mark the quarter of your bust measurement. This means that you divide your bust measurement by 4. Okay, so the bust measurement we're working with is 42. Divide by 4, that will give me 10.5. I'll go ahead and mark 10.5. Now after marking that 10.5, the next thing I want to do is to connect from that 10.5 all the way to that midpoint from the chest line to the shoulder slope, and then all the way to the shoulder slope. Now that will give you your armhole. Okay, now go to your chest line. We're going in by our nipple to nipple measurement. The nipple to nipple I'm working with is 9 inches. We'll divide it by 2, and that will give us 4.5, and I'm marking 4.5 on every line. Now I'll go ahead and use my ruler to connect to give me a straight line like this. Remember what I did: nipple to nipple measurement is 9 inches, divide by 2, that gave me 4.5, and I'm marking 4.5 across those lines. That line we just drew now is called our dart line. Now on that dart line, go to your under bust, go in by 1.5 inch on the left axis and 1.5 inch on the opposite axis as well, just like this. 1.5 on the left, and on the right 1.5. You can see that, right? Also do the same for the waist line. Now connect both lines. Now go to the bust line. Our bust line, the middle point of our bust line, we'll connect it back to those lines we just drew using our French curve. Okay, I think I haven't mentioned, this is not a princess that bustier. This is your normal bustier, the way everybody's going crazy about princess that bustier. This is a normal bustier. Okay, yeah, so connect the dart you've taken into your bust line just like this. You see how pretty it looks? Good. Now for the bust tightening, let's go to our chest line. Now still on that dart line, but your chest line, we'll go in by 1 inch on both sides of the dart line. Now after doing that, the next thing we'll do, connect from those 1 inch we just marked back to your bust. Next we'll start applying our circumference measurement. Now the bust circumference is 42. 42 divide by 4 will give you 10.5. So we'll go ahead and mark 10.5 on the bust line. Now move on to the under bust. The under bust measurement is 30 inches. Now 30 divided by 4 will give you 7.5, and I'll just mark 7.5 right there. Now please take note that we took out 3 inches worth of that, and we're going to replace that 3 inches. So that's what I just marked, the extra 3 inches for the dart. Now on the waistline, the waist measurement is 31 inches. 31 inches divided by 4 is 7.5. Now I've marked 7.5. Now our dart intake was 3 inches, right? I'll replace 3 inches right there. Now that I have marked that, the next thing will be to connect the dots I have on the waistline to the under bust, to the bust line, and then to the armhole. The next thing will be to go in with your stitching allowance. Now the stitching allowance I'm working with is 1.5 inches. This is absolutely optional. You can add 2 inches, 2.5, any amount you like, but make sure you add your stitching allowance. I always add mine to my pattern paper to avoid stories that touch the heart, so I'll add that. And next will be to move to the neckline. Get your ruler, connect from that your neckline all the way to the chest line. You see the places my hands are lighting here. Now I'll take my French curve from the center of my pattern paper. I'll be creating my sweetheart effect, that sweetheart at the center of your bustier, right? So I'll be going in with my French curve. I'll take your ruler to your shoulder line, place it exactly where I placed mine, connect to the center of your sweetheart. That sweetheart is just created like this, exactly. Now the next thing we want to do, go in by 1 inch, connect again to your shoulder line, just like this. So this we just created is the hole on the neckline. Don't worry, it will make sense very soon. So these places I'm marking is the areas we are cutting out so that there is no mistake, okay? I will go ahead and cut those areas out so that we can understand what's going on. This tutorial is very easy if you follow details. I have noticed that some of us are very impatient with learning. If you are not patient enough to learn something properly, you will pay the price of making costly mistakes. Do you get? So this is how it would look by the time you've cut out those areas. You can see the hole, it looks perfect, so beautiful. Now we'll go ahead now and cut out the armhole and the other unnecessary areas. This is what we have, guys. Now what's left is our bustier area. We need to take out those darts. I've shaded my darts. So I'll go ahead and cut out on those areas I shaded. Please make sure you follow the details of the areas I'm cutting, okay? So that you don't cut out the areas you need. After cutting out, guys, this is what you should have. This is what our front piece looks like. Placing this pattern on our main fabric is definitely the next thing to do. This is the beautiful fabric I'll be working with, but before then, let's quickly draft the back pattern. So fold your paper into like so, and then go in with the necessary lines. I've gone ahead to indicate the shoulder line, the chest line, the bust line, and then the waist line. The back pattern will not have under bust line, okay? Go ahead and roll across those lines. The next thing you want to do is to add your zipper allowance, okay? Make sure you add your zipper allowance, don't forget that. Now it's time to mark your shoulder line. Please, I folded my zipper allowance inside. You know I always do that if you're following this channel. So I've marked my shoulder line, which is 8 inches, and then for my neckline, which is 3 inches wideness, okay? Now I'll go ahead and create my shoulder slope just exactly like we did, and then connect it back to the neckline. After connecting, the next thing you want to do is to connect from that shoulder slope to your chest line, just like this. Now for the depth of the neckline, we're going in by 1 inch, just 1 inch. Connect from that 1 inch to the shoulder line, and That'll be your neckline. Now for the armhole, go to your chest line, mark quarter of your bust measurement. You already know 42 by 4 is 10.5 and I marked 10.5. Now you connect from that 10.5 to your shoulder slope. Make sure that you do exactly how mine is done, okay? The armhole for the back is usually not the same as that of the front. Now this is what you should have. Moving on, we'll take our tape rule, place it at the center of our back piece, go in by half of your nipple to nipple measurement. The nipple to nipple measurement I am working with is 9 inches, divided by half is 4.5, and I'll mark 4.5, then rule across all the lines. So this line we just created is our dart line. Now we're just going to take in our dart of half inch on both sides of that line. On your waistline, you can see, yes, that's our dart. We'll connect it now back to the eye of our dart. At this point, it is safe to mark your circumference measurement. Now the bust circumference we're working with, we already know is 42 divided by 4. That will give us 10.5, and I'll mark 10.5 on the chest line. Now on the bust line, we're going to mark 42 divided by 4, that's 10.5, plus the half inch allowance we took on that area, that's 11 inches, and I marked 11 inches on the bust line. For the waist 30 divided by 4 is 7.5, plus the 1 inch that I was taken out, yeah, and I've marked it. So we'll connect all the lines. Now after this is done, I think your back pattern is almost ready. The next thing you want to do is to add your stitching allowance. Remember, we're adding an allowance of 1.5 inch. You can go ahead to decide how many inches you want your allowance to be. Your pattern is basically ready, but if you want to have a keyhole like me, bring out your zipper allowance, get your French curve, place your French curve 2 inches from the neckline, and then make sure you're using the curved edge. Connect it from that point all the way to the eye of your dart, and it will give you this shape, okay? And that's pretty much it. The next thing we want to do now is to cut out. Alright, so after cutting out, this is what the back of my dress looks like, and this is the front pattern. You guys will place this on our main fabric and then cut. At this point, the video was getting too long, so I'll be uploading the part 2, which will show you how I padded my lining instead of my main fabric, okay? This is to avoid any squeezy, aftermath. I'll be showing you how to cut your cap sleeve. I'll be showing you how I achieved the ruffles in front and lots more. Do not forget to subscribe. I'll also be showing you the finished look of this dress on my client in that video.